Hey photographers, have you noticed that the word camera seems to have lost its meaning? Paul Chato, whose YouTube channel has several shows, including Science Tech Stand-Up and Apple Good or Evil, is joining me today. Paul, we are going to do our best not to mention Apple today.
That's fine. I'm happy to not mention them.
Well, I was going to say, though, not that viewers actually seem to notice what we're talking about. There were so many comments about the background, the lack of matching lighting, the echo, and other technical aspects of our last podcast. I wonder if viewers even care what it is that we talk about.
No, I don't think they do. I just think they're happy to listen to two articulate
Canadians.
older gentlemen that know what they're talking about.
Right. Well,
we are the sex figures of photography.
This is why I do this with you. So should we start with the reveal and explain how we do this and why we're finding this simpler and more effective than getting together in person for our conversation?
But you want me to turn the camera around to show my stuff?
No. What I'll do is I'll show that you're in front of a green screen, that
Yes.
I'm in front of a green screen. So I'll just let those things get revealed.
Absolutely.
Then I'll make them go away. And then in the background is a still. I haven't decided which still yet. This is the last minute decision while I'm editing.
I really like the last still.
Okay, I think I have a good one for this week, but I did go out and do some shooting. However, I was trying to shoot a background, and you got to protect the space where you and I would be. And some lady lets her dog walk right into the shot, so I couldn't use that.
Well, as long as the
half
next
an hour
background,
recording
the
and
next,
then wasted by some dog.
As long as the next background isn't a sewage treatment plant.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. The sewage treatment plant.
Next time, you should get an outdoor loop so it looks like there's activity behind us.
Right, but I don't want to loop it. I want a whole, half-hour recording.
Okay. I see what you mean.
I don't want people to start commenting that I saw the loop at 10 minutes and 17 seconds. That doesn't work for me.
Anyways, let's move on.
Yes, last week I had offers to review a doorbell. So apparently, doorbells, you're going to love this, they're now cameras. But
sure, I've seen them.
How do I politely say no to someone who thinks that their device is a camera that I should be reviewing?
Well, I think there might be ways of reviewing the doorbell camera in the criteria that would represent what
photography.
Doorbell. No, but I mean what the camera is made to do. So you would set up someone stealing someone's package on your stoop, and you'd go, and here we're testing just how wide the lens is so we can check out how porch pirates can be nabbed. Is the person's face clear in this camera? Yes,
right.
It is. We think that this is a great camera. We
and
give
note
it a
that
9
at
out of 10.
F16, I can see the license plate on his car. Whereas if I close the iris, then it's, the bokeh is lovely, but I can't make out the details.
And do you see the people robbing the corner store in the background? That's come out very good. So between these three doorbell cameras, we picked this one. Because it showed the murder more clearly than any other doorbell.
No. And did I hear this right? That you shot an entire movie with your car's rear view camera?
Yeah, I did. The downside was that I killed 2 of the actors.
Oh. Well, you should follow William Shatner's philosophy. I hear that Bill has never backed up a car in his life. He only drives forwards.
Well, I mean, the Enterprise, you didn't go backwards. You couldn't back up the Enterprise.
True.
Hey, Sulu, hold on. Let's back up the Enterprise here
into that parking spot.
Yeah. Or that
maybe it had AI for auto parking. Who knows?
Yeah, you know what? That would
squeezing
be
in between the Millennium Falcon and the.
I've never understood the manual requirement to fly the Enterprise.
Right.
But then it wouldn't have been interesting if it was just autopilot Tesla Enterprise.
Yeah, Elon Musk never did get involved in that.
So cameras.
But, yes.
Are you
and I
taking the
just
job?
being? So are you
Are
and
you
I
taking the
just being
job? No, I know, but are you going to take the job to review
No.
the doorbell
No.
camera?
No, it's funny. It was a funny little bit that we did, but I'm not going to review the camera. But
You know what? If you had done what we just talked about, I think that would have been a very funny piece for your channel.
But I'm not, except for my conversations with you, I'm not really in the comedy business. I leave that to you. I don't want to step on your toes.
Thank you, because I don't want any more funny people on YouTube.
Exactly.
It's painful that
Yeah.
there are people way funnier than me. I don't like it.
There are people way funnier than you. Am I
Yes.
subscribed to the wrong channels?
Oh, clearly, I think you have.
But are you and I being snobs about this? Like, do I just have my elitist view and these sub-camera devices made photography more accessible to the masses? Or do you agree with me and think that they're some kind of demon spawn, not cameras?
I think ultimately it comes down to what your audience is actually interested in. Even in relation to quote unquote real cameras,
Yeah.
how many people are now interested in anything that Panasonic is making?
That's a good question. They don't get a lot of views. Olympus gets even less. But it's been quite a while since as a result, since I've bothered to review a camera from either of those. No, I did.
So is the difference
Panasonic.
between what Panasonic is offering and a doorbell camera if nobody wants to see it?
Well, I guess I haven't tried because I haven't
if a tree
reviewed.
falls in the woods and there's no doorbell camera to actually catch it hitting the ground,
Right.
does it still fall or make a sound or something?
Oh,
or
maybe I
steal your
need to-
package?
I need to review a doorbell camera to see if there's an interest in it. I wasn't sure they were going to be interested in the 100S. I was surprised that they want me to review it.
I
So,
thought that was a great show.
yeah,
I thought that was a very good episode.
thank you very much.
Look, it's an exciting camera
Yes.
from a
Oh, yes.
technological point of view.
Yeah, yeah. It's certainly disruptive, in terms of its resolution at its price point and its sensor size. Lenses are great. A lot of kudos to that.
So
camera.
what
But
other
on the
cameras
other hand, it's
what other cameras have you gotten that you feel might fit into this doorbell camera category that you're being a snob about?
dash cams. I also last
Ah.
week dash cams were offered to me. So
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I would immediately cut to Russian dash cam footage.
yes.
See?
Oh, they're amazing. Yes, there's some good videos.
So
out
we
there.
are testing this dash cam right now. Oh my
Bang!
God! Look at what's happened in front. Oh Lord! Wah!
Yeah.
See, I'm telling you,
I'm
you're
telling you.
missing a mother load of comedy on your channel.
See, again, comedy, right? If I wanted to do comedy, I would just review bad cameras. If a camera really doesn't work well for me, I just send it back. But because I don't want to be doing a comedy bit. When something is bad, there's this huge temptation to just make fun of it rather than to actually be serious about it. So,
Well, I mean, put it this way: if you had applied your April Fool's gag methodology to both
Yes.
the dash cam and the doorbell cam and did it as dryly as you did that,
Yes.
I think we would all be really appreciative. Or you take these two ideas, bank them for another 2 April Fool's videos.
April the 1st is covered for years in advance. We're going to need more
In
April
the next
1st.
2 years, you've got the
I've got
dash cam
material.
camera.
Right.
So dash cam camera and the porch camera. Anything else?
No, that's all I can think of for the last couple of weeks. But
Are you
a
a
lot of
snob
odd
for
things
not
end
wanting
up.
to review them?
There was
That's
some
interesting.
handheld gimbal thing that had a tiny little camera on it that I was offered as well. Yeah. But back to cameras. So have you ever been in a camera obscura?
Yes, we made one at Ryerson.
Oh.
We poked a hole in a wall.
Oh, in a wall. Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then we saw the upside down image
Right.
on the back wall.
So that's actually the origin of the word camera.
Yeah,
camera
which
actually
means
means vaulted room.
Room in French.
Italian.
Italian? I
Yep.
thought it was camera was French for
No.
room.
No.
In camera.
But in the camera obscura, because obscura is the Italian word for dark, so I'm going to, but in Italian, in Latin, it's a vaulted room. So that's what it comes from. And so what happened, and that's why we call it a camera, because eventually the room got smaller until it was a little box, and people used that to look at eclipses so that they weren't damaging their eyes. So it was just a little box that you could look into and see the sun. And then Joe Nepps decided that he could put film in the box. Well, actually, it wasn't film at the time. It was some a coated plate of glass, so that he could actually record and save the image that he saw in his camera obscura box.
It's an amazing process. I kind of miss the film days just because it was magical. It's not so magical now.
Yeah. Well, that's the standard definition of magic, that any suitably advanced technology is similar to magic. But is the role of photography in our lives changing? Does photography change everything? That's a title of a recent collection of essays that I read. And I actually wasn't sure about whether I was going to answer yes at the end of that. But does photography, as it gets to more people with these, less expensive or odd cameras. I mean, drones are cameras, GoPros are cameras. I know. Is that changing the nature of photography? Who has access to it and who can participate in the space?
I don't think it's any different from the democratization of desktop publishing.
Right.
That desktop publishing created through digital. That was a huge disruptive technology. We can't stick the genie back in the bottle as much as I try. He complains a lot. And maybe we're not the people to move it forward because we don't quite understand fully how this is all going to turn out.
Or we have too much memory of the old process to appreciate how this might change and how that might be appreciated. But should there be...
Look at Instagram.
Right. It's totally changed photography. Square, like photographs used to be 3x2 or 4x3. But now, square is a very acceptable format. More cameras are adding 1:1 square aspect ratio as a possibility for the images that you're taking.
And the greatest impediment to photographers in the past was finding a place to publish your stuff. Now it's ubiquitous. That is the one thing that's been the major game changer, is the fact that you can publish anywhere. And YouTube gives those of us who don't want to climb into the horrible belly of network television once again an opportunity to close the loop. I can think of something, I can record it, and I can, both you and myself can do it. We're doing it now.
Right.
We can close the loop.
Yes, there's no. It has eliminated the gatekeepers, the people who in the past had to decide whether that was going to work or that wasn't. Now it will be up to my viewers to decide whether, when I review a dash cam or a doorbell, whether that was something that they wanted and whether that was something that was worthwhile for me to do. I'll know within an hour or two whether it's gotten 10 views or 1,000 views, and
then it's also a function of how many of your YouTube viewers are watching your channel because of you, or because of, I had this discussion online already, brand whoring. And I don't mean to say that in a pejorative way, but I mean a lot of people will...
Can you say that in a non-pejorative way?
I don't know, but I mean, the point is, if I do stuff on Apple, I get more views. That's brand whoring. Even though I think I'm creating, it's there for humor, but there's a lot of good critical analysis stuffed in between the jokes, as most people realize. So,
right. I liked your episode of Apple Good or Evil this week. I thought that was right to the point. That was well done.
I thought it was an idea that was worth talking about based on my experience. And now I call the new iMacs the Barbie iMac.
I like
people
that.
seem to people seem to like that concept.
Yeah, and I liked your review of all of the historical models. I'd forgotten some of those computers. That was
That
a
was just
long
that
list.
one
That was
year.
interesting.
And that was just the 1 year. Slice of that 1 year. So
Right.
yeah, I encourage anyone to watch my last episode of
That's why I'm
Apple
here.
Good or Evil.
I wish I could do that the way you do, but you add reverb, don't you?
I add reverb and flames. It's important to add flames.
Flames. I remember when that was more important than it
So
was.
so for me, being
yes.
a fan of your channel, would I watch you reviewing a door cam? Yes, I would.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to help me set a minimum standard, like where I draw the line and say, that is not a camera. I'm not going to review it under any circumstances. But you feel I should. You feel that somehow
Yeah.
I can add value outside of comedy.
I would just like to hear your thoughts on it. And I don't even think it's necessarily a comparison to the major a real camera, again in air quotes. It's just, hey, look, this camera actually isn't so bad. Now the backwards rear facing cameras in cars, those are horrible.
Yeah, there's also
The
no way to
quality.
record them at the moment, or I haven't seen a car that will let you record the backup camera. So I'm intrigued as to how you managed to pull off your rear view camera. And is there
That's
now
a
a
secret.
festival for rear view camera videos?
That's right. Yes.
In Grimsby.
We're
The
we're
biannual
trucking.
Grimsby backup
Annual
camera.
Grimsby Backup Camera Festival. That's right. We
Yeah.
only use the backup camera
Right.
to shoot our movies.
Well, because we let phones call themselves cameras, like
Yes, we do
in fact,
now.
on a phone, camera seems to be more important than the phone. No one talks about the phone part anymore. Well, in fact, no one talks on the phone at all. But the camera is, so maybe I should start with the phone. Just ease myself into, this topic.
Well, it was amazing how utilitarian cameras were on the old flip phones. And then I don't want to be yelled at in the comments section, but was it Apple that really brought a decent camera to a phone? No, Nokia did. Nokia had decent cameras in their phones prior to Apple producing the iPhone. So it's
Yeah, but
it's
Apple
been
made
there
a
for a
bigger
bit.
deal of it.
Yes, they made a much bigger deal out
FaceTime
of
made
it.
it a bigger deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they did more algorithmy things to improve the quality or something. One of your commenters will be able to
Will
tell
fill
us
us in, yes.
accurately.
But I have to ask, so is there a world where, say the GoPro 9 and the Sony A9 are actually comparable devices?
Wow.
I don't know how to compare them. They're so
Well, they each have their own use case.
right.
So,
But is the use
Sony
case-
A9's a terrible vlogging camera.
There's that. Also not very good if you're, going to mount it on a helmet and ride your bike down a hill. I just wouldn't recommend that.
No, especially if you fell.
Right. And that. But just thinking about photography, because as a technology, it's already had a longer than average lifespan. Most technologies, like take the 8-track tape, maybe last for 20, 25 years, but photography's been around for, well, I think it's closing on 200 years. How much longer can it last? Like, what is the actual potential for disruption in the photography space? Will cameras no longer exist at some point and we'll all be looking and taking holograms using some device we can't even start to imagine today?
Well, I think one thing that's true is that the stuff that might be cool, like VR and AR, if they're not accessible to the general public, they don't care. The other thing that you have to remember is people will still continue to take terrible home movies because they don't know how to do anything else. They'll still take pictures where their families are way too tiny in the frame when they could just step 1 or 2 steps forward and make a much more interesting picture. That is going to go on forever. It doesn't matter how bad the camera is or was, whether they're using a Brownie or an Instamatic. The vast majority of people aren't going to be operating a camera in the way, or have no interest in operating the camera in a way that you or I are interested in operating our cameras.
Right.
So from that perspective, that's going to go on forever. I don't see any end to that. Movies
Right.
are still about storytelling. People are going to be telling stories with their cameras, and people
Right.
love to see pictures of themselves. That's a very big attraction.
Well, that's always the question. Like, you look at this photograph of, the family in front of the Grand Canyon,
Right.
and you think, wow, that's a great photograph of the Grand Canyon, but your family got in front of it. Or that's a great photo of your family, but the background's very distracting. Like
Well,
what?
there's also
Where does
there's
that
also
go?
that one. There's a rock outcropping that's quite well known, quite well photographed, and one wag actually stepped back and took a picture of all these photographers waiting for sunrise or sunset. I can't remember which one, and there was like 50 of them. So
Angkor Wat. We were
yeah,
there.
I
We
think
get
that
up
might
like
have been there.
we're walking in darkness to get to what I thought the day before would be the right viewpoint, and like you walk around the corner and there are already 500, 1,000 people there. Like, we're too crowded to take a shot. The only thing that you could photograph was the crowd.
So what's the point in taking a photograph of something everyone has already taken a photograph of?
Right, by the postcard, after all.
By the postcard. Yeah, they're going to get a professionally done picture.
On a day where the sun was coming and the guy took it at the right time and all of those things. Well, thanks. And I'm sure that my viewers will want to join in on this important topic. Subscribe.
So next time, I think you should take the door cam to Angkor Wat.
Not the backup cam?
No, we'll never get there. It's too hard to get there unless
too
you
hard
have
to
like a
drive
four-wheel
backwards?
drive. All the way.
All the way
Yes.
to Cambodia. Yeah. Let me continue with my extra.
Yeah, so
subscribing is, of course, your free option to access my content. If you think the kind of thing that we're doing today is worth supporting, join me as a member. Paul, thanks very much for joining me today. This was very entertaining. And to all of you, thanks for watching. Stay safe.
Bye, Martin. Okay, we're done?